From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
We owe what this nation is today to our veterans and the service and sacrifice that they made during their time in the military uniform. For us to take a day off to celebrate what they've allowed to happen in this country and their service and their sacrifice making this country the great place that it is today, I think is time well spent.
Today was a day of reflection as the nation took time out to recognize Veterans Day, and this morning the Westmark Hotel was the scene of a powerful ceremony.
That's right. Mike Schultz was there and he has this report.
November 11th, 1918 was declared as the war to end all wars. 1 year later, it was deemed as Armistice Day. Eventually, in 1954, it became Veterans Day. And since then, we have recognized all veterans of past wars on November 11th. Today at the Westmark Hotel, before an overflow crowd, the scene was of celebration and of memories for veterans present and past.
You know, we have a lot of members that are here in this Fbx community that have been in the military. And what they've done is, a lot of people don't understand, is that a lot of them, they've sacrificed quite a bit by putting on a uniform and serving our nation in one way or the other.
It's a tribute to all the veterans who served our country. It's an honor to be a part of it. We've had this ceremony every year, and the community comes out and forced to pay a tribute to all the veterans. We have World War II veterans all the way through the current conflict, and each of those deserves the respect and honors that we can give them.
Veterans Day not only honors those that have served our country and fallen, but also those that are still here, that continue to serve our country both in uniform and out of uniform, what they do for our communities, and also their families, and what they do to support their soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines.
In addition to proclamations from senators, the governor, and 3 local mayors, a second grade class from Weller stole the show. It was a good day to recognize our veterans and our military at the Westmark. Mike Schultz reporting.
Fairbanks police cordoned off a downtown area this morning after a shooting that left 1 person injured. The incident was reported shortly after 7 at a residence on 7th Avenue near Cowles Street. Officers were canvassing the area for evidence after an unidentified victim was sent to the hospital with what was described as a gunshot wound to the leg. Police were questioning neighbors in the area and said the shooter left the scene. Now, little information was made available about the suspect. However, Fairbanks police say an investigation is ongoing.
Again, we're going to have our investigations unit come down. We'll be continuing to investigate, determine if there's any evidence here at the scene that we need to process. And so just to preserve that, we're going to cordon off the area and just make sure we have the area secure. We'll probably be asking for the public's assistance.
Alaska election officials today began counting thousands of outstanding ballots that will help decide the 2014 general election in Alaska. Now, as of press time, Republican challenger Dan Sullivan had increased his lead over incumbent Mark Begich in the U.S. Senate race by 0.09%. Sullivan leads Begich by 8,784 votes, which is an increase of 635 votes. According to State Elections Director Gail Finumier, the latest statewide summary includes all of the known Mat-Su and Juneau ballots and quotes some from Fairbanks and Anchorage. In Alaska's gubernatorial race, incumbent Sean Parnell has slightly closed the gap on independent challenger Bill Walker. Walker led the Republicans by just over 3,100 votes on election night. That lead has been whittled to 3,019 votes following today's count.
If you are interested in heating your home or business with natural gas, you may want to be at the Westmark Hotel tomorrow evening. The latest Interior Energy Project Community Involvement meeting will take place from 5:30 to 7:30 in the Gold Room. Officials with MWH and the Alaska Industrial Development and Export Authority will be on hand with recent figures related to the cost of trucking gas to the interior. Also in the Westmark, the Alaska LNG project will hold an open house from 6 to 8 for the Fairbanks and North Pole communities. It's one of 12 open houses scheduled across the state as organizers share information about the multi-billion-dollar project that would pipe gas from the North Slope to the Kenai Peninsula.
When we come back, we take another look into the case of the Fbx 4.
Also, this week's edition of the Health Report. Those stories are next. Stay with us. And welcome back. Tonight, we continue our look into the recent hearing held in the 1997 murder case of John Hartman and the 4 men seeking to have the case against them reviewed. Stephanie Woodard has more.
After 5 hours inside a closed courtroom, lawyers emerged. Attorneys for the Fbx 4, Jason Wallace, and investigators that worked closely with the case heard testimony on whether or not to admit sealed evidence that some believe to be another confession that corroborates the Fbx 4 did not murder John Hartman in October of 1997. The courtroom was locked, and supporters of the 4 men in prison say it's just not right.
You know, it's human beings that are supposed to be part of the system that don't want anything except for transparency, literally being locked out of their own courts, so that the state can fight behind closed doors to keep a murder confession that they've been hiding for more than a decade a secret for how many more decades.
It has been over a year since a confession by convicted murderer William Holmes was filed in court, and months since the state has begun its review of the case.
It's been the same as it has been for the whole 17 years in terms of how the state responds. Sure, I mean, it's the same system that took innocent people and put them in jail, and it's just as sick and just as corrupt as it was then.
The state reviewing the case was not allowed in the courtroom.
The state does not have the information that was dealt with in this hearing, so I guess the answer is they don't know what it is. So I'm not sure there's any way they could investigate it.
Judge Paul Lyle did not make a ruling. The judge can take up to 6 months to respond, although he feels it'll be sooner.
I have innocent clients in prison, so it comes with the work, but you're always frustrated when they remain in jail.
I'm Stephanie Woodard, reporting. The city of North Pole dedicated a park this afternoon in honor of the 2 Alaska State Troopers who gave their lives in the line of duty. The Trooper Gabe Rich and Trooper Scott Johnson Memorial Park was unveiled to the public shortly after a ceremony honoring both of the men and the countless others who have died serving their country. Dignitaries began planning for the park dedication with borough officials in late May. The city also partnered with the Alaska Police Officer Association, Interior Fire Chiefs Association, and the United States Armed Services for the project. North Pole Police say it was important to honor their comrades with a place the community can visit to remember the sacrifice.
Today's important as Veterans Day, and I think it's particularly fitting that we recognize, their service and their sacrifice. And so, really it's our honor to be able to do it today, and we're very happy to be able to do that.
Their deaths inspired us to actually develop the park. We've had the park for some time, and once the tragedy occurred, we decided to start the process and form a committee and dedicate the park to those 2 for everything they've done for us.
November is National Diabetes Month, a time set aside to focus attention on the issues surrounding diabetes and the many people who are impacted by the disease. Monty Bowen has details now in this week's Health Report.
Nearly 30 million children and adults in the U.S. have diabetes. Another 86 million have prediabetes. Daphne Powell was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was 8 years old, and managing the disease is a major part of her daily routine. There could be hope. The University of Alabama announced its researchers cured diabetes in mice.
It's exciting to think that I can rid myself of all the finger checks and all of the living within certain diet restrictions, and having really high highs or really low lows could be a thing of the past.
People would not have to inject as much insulin or not at all.
Now, doctors are working to find that cure for people.
It thrills me to know that we could be on the verge of a cure.
This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
So I must say that that was a really nice ceremony, and nice of them to dedicate that park to the 2 troopers. So.
Yeah, very nice to see.
Great.
All right, Joe Cook is up next with more highlights and news from a loaded weekend of sports.
All that plus the Nana Corner with the men's basketball team. Stay with us. Joe Cook is dancing in the wings, waiting to come on here.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you with your local sports this Tuesday. It's Nana Corner Tuesday. Today we meet some of the new UAF basketball players as the men's squad will have their first games this weekend. Here's more. 7 standout seniors graduated from the UAF men's basketball program last year. Andrew Kelly is playing pro ball in Iceland. So how do you replace players like Kelly and a nice class of seniors? Simple, recruit. Head coach Mick Durham is in his 4th season at UAF and brought in 8 JC transfers, 3 freshmen and a sophomore to go with 4 returners. Bobby Howard, a former Montana State forward, is also Durham's new assistant coach. The Nanics host Trinity International this Friday and Saturday in 2 exhibition games, and Durham wants to see what he has to work with.
You know, you're trying to play a lot of different combinations, giving guys looks. I think you always want to see kind of your feel or pulse on how the guys are playing together.
One transfer is Ruben Silvas from Tucson, Arizona. He's the first member of the Pascua Yaqui tribe to play college ball, and he's adjusting well.
I came up, it was nice, the weather was nice. 2 weeks later, it's freezing cold, so it's something I got to get used to. You know, it's a bigger institution since where I'm from, it's small, but I like it. I like the transition, and couldn't ask to be a better place.
Eric Fong, another transfer originally from Zurich, Switzerland, is impressed with how well this new team is forming some quick chemistry.
You have guys coming from junior colleges that are used to being the man on the team, and now everybody knows, well, they have to play a certain role to get the best out of the team. So
the Nanics play Trinity International on Friday at 7:30, following the women's game against Chaminade, and at Saturday at 1 o'clock in the Patty Center.
Nana Corner, brought to you by Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
In high school sports news, Allison's Anthony Griffith will represent Alaska in a national competition. Monday, Griffith was named the boys' state winner in the Wendy's High School Heisman Contest. He was one of 15 state finalists. Juno Sierra Kelly was the girls' winner. Both will hope to be selected as 12 national finalists. The national winner will be announced on December 12th. The winner receives an $8,000 scholarship, a trophy, and a $500 Wendy's gift card. Sounds pretty good. The national finalists will be revealed on Friday. Griffith set 2 state rushing records in his senior season as Ravens won the small school state title, going 9-0. Now here are the all-conference volleyball players for the Interior as the season winds down. In the MAC Conference for West Valley, Stella Knox, Ruthie Hebert, Nora Trotman, and Melissa Spalding. McKinley Putnam and Megan Smith for North Pole, and Nadine Velasco and Carly Fitzgerald for Lathrop. And switching over to the Aurora Conference, Monroe's Marissa King was named MVP, and Allison's Dana Ball received Coach of the Year honors. Giselle Hollis, Emily Pfister, and Andy Clark were all Aurora from Monroe. Allison's Asia Doe, Jordan Arnett, Lexi Smith, and Hutchison's Michaela Hayron, Anna Lee Tidwell, Caroline Everett, and Lena Heinrichs were also all Aurora. The Monroe Rams hockey team won a tournament to jumpstart their season after losing 8-0 to North Pole in their season opener. The Rams defeated Delta 5-3, Glen Allen 10-0, and rival Hutchinson 4-1 on Saturday to win the Hutchinson Hit Hockey Invitational Tournament this past weekend. Monroe is now 3-1, led by Dylan Steele and Matthias Sumogala's 9 points. They host Tri-Valley this Friday and Saturday at 3 and 3:45 in the Big Dipper. Going on to some other high school scores from over the weekend. West Valley beat Chugiak 7-6 in overtime for their first win of the year. Stasi Skorowski had 5 points in the win, 2 goals and 3 assists. Lathrop fell to Colony 4-1 on Saturday afternoon. Both West Valley and Lathrop are 1-2 to start the year. The Allison and Hutchinson wrestling teams had some of their best outings on Saturday before heading into this week's Hutchinson Meltdown. The Ravens placed second in the Houston Altercation Wrestling Invitational with 5 top 3 finishes. Hutch placed 8th in the 10-team tournament. Houston won the tourney. Allison's Jonathan Durbin was second in the 195-pound class to lead 2 other Allison runner-ups, Jonathan St. Andre and Jonah Quittab. Garrison Poland of Hutch won the 160-pound class in the tournament. Now, the Delta Junction Huskies and Tote Wolverines had a David versus Goliath matchup, if you will, on Saturday in rifle, but the Huskies defeated Lathrop in air rifle 2,257 points to 2-2-3-1, which is Lathrop's first loss in air rifle this season. The Mounties, though, they bounced back winning small bore, and they won in overall points. Lathrop also swept Toke and West Valley over the weekend. All Toke shooters posted personal records and shot their highest point totals despite falling to Hutchinson. If there's anything about curling going on in the Interior, you know one of the Persingers is going to show up. Over the weekend, Ken Persinger and his rink won this year's Yukon title Curling Classic. Persinger hit a huge shot with a nice throw in the 6th inning as his team won 9-5 after trailing Team Burkholz 4-5. Ethan Burkholz, Greg Breed, Olivier Halfarson, and Matt Eversman was the 2nd seed going into that final. Tim Persinger included Larry Meath, Dave Huffman, and Tony Johansson. They won $3,600. It's the 5th straight year Persinger won the Yukon title. Greg Persinger, he won the last 2 titles. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Weather is next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into the Fbx Evening News. Mike Schultz with once again. Happy Veterans Day to all my fellow veterans out there. And it was a nice day across the interior. More clouds than we were expecting. Temperatures actually warmed up a little bit too. So we're looking at the mild temperatures to continue for the next few days. Then maybe cooling off a little bit for the weekend, but again, no major weather on the horizon. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Our photograph night is sent in by Natalia Taylor, and she was able to capture this valley near Denali Park. And again, beautiful colors once again. A nice photograph there. And as always, if you have a photograph, and I need some more photographs, send it to photos@ktvf11.com and we'll see what we can do to get it on the air and share with the rest of the audience. And speaking of photos, well, the photo album is out. I've been telling you about it, the photo calendar, I should say, Mike's Fab Photos, and they're free all over different places across the interior, like Connie's Casual Clothing was one place you can go, and of course the Fudge Pot, and we'll have other places throughout the week to let you know exactly where you can pick them up. They're free, great stocking stuffers too. All right, here's what's going on in the numbers. 24 currently after a high of 30, the overnight low 22 last night. Record high 38 in 1981, the record low 34 below in 1990. Sunrise about 9:18 this morning, and the sunset about 3:54 this afternoon, which works out to 6 hours and 36 minutes. A loss of 6 minutes from yesterday. On our satellite and radar, again, more clouds, but it's all mainly high clouds, so no real precipitation, at least past the Alaska Range. Now, around the Anchorage Bowl and the Prince William Sound area, once again, they're getting a mix of rain and snow shower activity there. You can see the pink indicating where the frozen precipitation is, the blue where the rain is falling. Clouds are basically clearing out over southeast Alaska. In fact, you can see that on our map here. Again, look at the temperatures. A little cooler around Juneau, 31 degrees there, 32 at Ketchikan, but warm as you get back into the western side of the state. 39 degrees at Anchorage, Kodiak, some showers, and 48 degrees, 41 at Cold Bay, Nome 35, Barrow down to about 16 degrees, and Fort Yukon at 19 degrees. Lower 48 weather. Well, the cold air is moving in with a vengeance across much of the northern half of the country. Billings, Montana, 11 degrees. Denver, 16 degrees. And Minneapolis, 26 and snowing. Cloudy skies over the southern sections of the country with Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, still only 49 degrees. 72 in Atlanta and New York, mostly cloudy and 64. On the satellite and radar, look at the cold air plunging down to the south, working its way down, all the way down into places in Texas, which is pretty unusual. And again, some activity, some light snow moving across the northern sections. As far as the cold air is concerned, as you can see, it really penetrates way down to the south. Houston, only 58 degrees compared to 74 today. And Dallas will be at 45, and we're normally at 68 degrees. So the cold air is definitely working its way down to the south. And the jet stream is the main culprit here, bringing a lot of cold air in from the north to the south across a large portion of the country, while the west remains warm and dry. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Here's what it looks like in the northern sections. Mostly cloudy for Barrow, mixed rain and snow for Nome, and partly cloudy skies for Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, looking at increasing clouds for Fairbanks and mostly cloudy skies for Healy and Delta Junction. And over the southeast, the best weather to be had there. Lots of sunshine for Juneau and Ketchikan, while over the southwest part of the state, looking at scattered showers for Cold Bay. Heavy rain expected in Kodiak, and rain will also be in the Bethel area. And over the south central regions, we're looking at, for the most part, mostly cloudy skies in Anchorage, rain showers at Homer, and clouds for the Valdez area. Okay, time once again for our kids' weather. All this week we've been talking with those kids from Hunter Elementary School. And tonight we have a young man with a very nice picture to show us.
This is my picture of a storm during football practice. So when we were playing football practice, there was a storm. Rain started off, then lightning came. Then lightning came. We all went into the locker room, but some kids tripped and fell, and a lot of rain fell on them, and a coach was running, and a light bulb hit him in the head.
And again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And tomorrow night, we're going to have a young lady here with a very unique weather question. Okay, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Not as warm as last night. 16 degrees for the overnight low. Cloudy skies continuing. And tomorrow's forecast, more continued high clouds and mild temperatures, 35 degrees for the high. And the extended forecast, as you can see here, once again, temperatures cooling down as we head in toward the latter part of the weekend. Only 26 to 24 by Sunday and Monday. Overnight lows will also be above normal, but they'll be cooling down a little bit also, down to 17 to 15 degrees for the overnight lows.
Not too bad.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And that will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz has a special way to honor veterans. That's next with Brian Williams.
As a reminder, join here